What is up, Sports Geeks? It's your host, Josh, here back with another fantasy football episode, joined by Alec. As always, Alec, pleasure having you on here. And a decent week last week. We had a couple scary ones, not to mention the Jakobi Meyers yesterday with 0 catches going into
Yeah.
our second to last drive, and then ends up with 10.9 PPR points. So he gave us 2 drives of what we expected for the entire game to be like, but not bad. It was a weird week in fantasy. I will say this real quick. Just a weird week. I mean, Saquon doesn't have a good week. Derrick Henry doesn't have a good week, right? There's a ton of guys big names that did not have good weeks. Jonathan Taylor, obviously, with the bad drop of a touchdown or fumble of a touchdown. So yeah, no, it was a bad week, but we're back with 6 more people. This is the fantasy semis here is where we're at. So if you're in a 2-week finals, this is probably week 1 of the finals. If you're not, this is the semis. So back with 6 more guys here. As always, make sure to hit the subscribe button. YouTube's telling me over 96% of you guys are not subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. It's easy. Takes 2 seconds. All you got to do is have an account. So other than that, though, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you for your first player here.
Yeah. So I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm just going to go straight to a guy who had a good week the first time these two teams matched up. It was on Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go DJ Moore against the Lions this week. He had 16 targets on Thanksgiving, had 8 catches. He had that touchdown. So listen, I love the Lions. I love Dan Campbell. We were talking about this a little earlier before we started recording. They're on, I don't know how many, what string cornerback, what string D tackle linebacker that they're on. Their defense is just decimated. And their offense is unfreaking believable. So if you're telling me Caleb Williams is in a negative game script against a decimated defense, I'm hoping and I'm confident that DJ Moore can out project his total.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm with you. I mean, if you're telling me that Kendall Vildor is going to be guarding somebody in the amount of man coverage that Aaron Glenn and this defense likes to run, DJ Moore, I think, is their best. Keenan Allen's a great route runner, but he's older. I think the ability to just absolutely torch man coverage, I think it's DJ Moore. And if you're running man coverage, the amount that Detroit does, and you don't have Terrion Arnold and Carlton Davis playing in the game, which obviously Carlton Davis going out, DJ Moore is going to torch. Somebody's going to get torched for several 40-plus yarders, and I would expect it to be DJ Moore at least one of those times. So, no, I'm right there with you. I am going to be at the Bears-Lions game this Sunday over in Chicago. So I will be Jahmyr Gibbs jersey on.
Yep.
Rooting for a decent DJ Moore game, hopefully just in garbage time. Lions safe win, and DJ Moore a couple touchdowns in garbage time. I can root for that. But
what's the weather? What's the weather supposed to be like?
It's changing so fast. It was like 38 and sunny, and then it was down to 25 and windy. Right now it's like 30 and like 10-mile-an-hour winds. So
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe it'll be a foot of snow. There's literally no telling with Chicago. But yeah, no, it'll be over in Soldier Field. It'll be a blast.
Yeah.
But no, I like DJ Moore a lot there. I'm going to go with somebody who has a little bit of change going on, but I still think he's going to play well. And it's Jerry Jeudy, right? So obviously the change from Jameis Winston, the absolute just blind gunslinger, if you will, to DTR. Obviously very mobile quarterback coming out of UCLA. There's a lot more of a down. The passing game is going to be down for sure, right? But I think Jerry Jeudy is the one thing that's going to remain constant here, right? You look at the snap share that he's been playing, you look at the targets that he's been getting, and again, I know that's with Jameis Winston, but DTR is going to have to throw the ball in this game. The Bengals are going to put up a lot of points. We know that. That's what they do every week, and they're going to be a negative game script here, and the Browns' running game has just not been good, right? I mean, Jerome Ford, I think, is probably going to be decent. Obviously, Nick Chubb's out for the season, but I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be the one thing that I think is constant in the passing game. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, we're just talking about my Lions can't cover. Your Bengals also can't cover. So I think that Jerry Jeudy, I could see him in the 8 to 10 catches range again. See him getting peppered with targets and just remaining on he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna take off and go for 15 for 150 just because I don't think they're throwing the ball that much. But I think that he could have a safe 8 for 100 and a touchdown.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely within the realm of possibility as well. Bengals can't cover. My Bengals are just atrocious on defense. Everybody knows that. Joe Burrow's an MVP candidate if they have even the 20th best defense. So, I love Jerry Jeudy this week, even with the QB change. Don't know if David Njoku's going to play this week. That could kind of take some of Judy's targets away. So if Njoku doesn't play, Jeudy could be a smash this week for sure.
Yep, absolutely. I'm right there with you. I'm gonna go ahead and group together my second guy here too.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go Courtland Sutton. And this is a guy that we've been kind of on for a couple weeks here in a row. Last week, not what we were hoping. 3 for 32 and a touchdown. So he comes away with 12 points, right? So not a terrible week. But I think going up against the Chargers, it's going to be just more of a passing volume game, right? This Indianapolis game was just really weird. I mean, 9 targets, 3 catches. That's just not something we've been seeing out of Bo Nix and this Denver offense. You look at his targets to receptions ratio here in the weeks before this. It's 9 targets, 6 catches, 10 and 8. 8 and 7, 9 and 6. So when he's getting consistently hitting that 8, 9 plus targets range, and he hasn't had 3 catches yet. So there's going to be some regression back to the mean here. And
Yep.
I think that it's just going to come in that receptions. He's been getting peppered with red zone targets. That's
Mhm.
awesome to see. And I think that that's going to continue. But with touchdowns aside, I think that with the volume of targets he's getting, he's going to regress back to that mean of receptions. And that's something that I'm all over this week.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. Especially kind of, in their offense, he's obviously the main guy, but they're kind of like a weird offense where it's like it's mainly Courtland Sutton, and then it's like a bunch of different pieces around him that kind of like a hodgepodge. It's like Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, Javante Williams,
Yeah.
like it's just like a
Von
bunch of
Bell.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just kind of a bunch of like weirdness around him, but there's always one constant, and it's his
Right.
like 35% target share. Um, and Bo Nix, who would have thought that Bo Nix would be the one to kind of propel like Courtland Sutton into this wide receiver one? I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it is, but it will, and that's the other thing that I mean, we're talking about regressing back to the mean. Bo Nix played terrible last week. I mean, 3 interceptions and what, like 180 yards. I mean, that's not something I would expect out of Bo Nix again, and I think he's going to regress back to the mean here against the Chargers. And the Chargers have been much better at shutting down the run. And this Broncos running game is just not great. So I
Yep,
think if it's going to come from anywhere, same thing we were saying last week. If it's going to come from anywhere, it's going to come from Courtland Sutton. And
yep,
last week they just didn't have much offense at all. You're going to regress back to your offensive mean. Courtland Sutton's going to regress back to his mean, and Bo Nix is going to do the same. I
yep.
think this is all kind of shaping up to just be a reset week for Denver and get back on track for everybody.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. I love it.
Yeah. Over to you for your second one here.
All right, sweet. So I'm gonna go Guerendo here for the
Mhm.
Niners. He's the bell cow. He is the Jordan Mason role. He is the CMC role. I know he's not CMC. I'm not comparing Correndo to CMC. I'm not a maniac, but it's the same role though. I
Mhm.
mean, it's not maybe the 85, 90% snap share, but he's getting all of the touches.
Yeah.
Every running back touch basically is still Guerendo. So I love him this week in Miami against Miami. Could be a high scoring game. And listen, you basically got this guy for free.
Mhm.
So please just play him in your flex this week.
Yes. Yeah, and I know you could have a sour taste in your mouth last week, right? If maybe you started Guerendo over
Yep.
James Conner, or maybe you started him over James Cook, right? I'm just trying to think of running backs had great weeks that maybe you were thinking you were going to get, week 14 Guerendo where he's put up 26 points, and he only puts up 11 and a half. But I think that 11 and a half is his absolute floor. It was under 4 yards per carry, and it was in a game where there was not a single touchdown. Right, the offense was so minimal. That is his floor. Going into this week, you're looking at least the same amount of receptions, touches, carries, and you're going to have more offense. You'd like to think there's going to be more offense.
Yeah.
Hoping for a game with at least one touchdown.
Well,
Um,
I mean, yeah, if you, and I know everybody watching this watched the Thursday night game, dude, that first half was atrocious football. That was like watching like a Navy Army 3-0 fourth quarter. Like they might as well have been running triple option. It was awful. Stafford at one point was like 2 for 11 for like 10 yards. It was terrible.
yeah, yeah, no, that is the absolute floor for the offensive
Of course,
performance that
yeah.
you're going to get here.
And he still, I mean, and he still didn't burn you. He still got around 10 points. Like
Yeah,
he could be he has the potential, like that week one when he had 25 or 27, whatever it was,
Mhm.
he has the potential to win you a week with 30, 35. It's
Yes.
just because of the offense.
Yes, absolutely. The Shanahan offense is somebody that is an offense that uses the running back to a point where you could get 5, 6 catches. You could have 140, 150 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That, yeah, it just gives you the potential to absolutely go off. So, no, I'm right there with you. I have Guerendo in a league, and I'm smashing him into my flex play this week. But over to you we'll keep it with you here for your third and final player here
Yeah.
of the show.
Yeah, so this is dependent. I know we do a couple of these, maybe one a week. We've done it a couple of times where it's like dependent on an injury.
Mhm.
So if Alvin Kamara does not play this week,
Okay.
I want, and so I looked up on ESPN. Kendre Miller's only rostered in 8% of leagues, which is kind of low. I know he just came back from an injury or whatever. I really like Kendre Miller this week if Kamara doesn't play. Even the last 2 weeks with Kamara active, he had 10 carries and 9 carries, couple targets. He's just going to fill into the Kamara role. They're not going to give Jamal Williams big run. So I really like Kendre Miller this week, kind of based on what we've done the whole year, and it's been smashing this year,
Mhm.
just volume based,
Yep.
just pure volume base. Love Kendre Miller.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, you also have to think about the situation for the Saints here too, right? Jamal Williams is on his the out of his career.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Kendra Miller is very much on the up, right? I mean, he's in his second year out at TCU, and this is a guy that if you are the Saints organization, Alvin Kamara, he's not young, right? He's not old, but he's not young.
Yep.
And so you are looking to develop a second running back. And so this is a perfect situation in which you have kind of a risk-free, right? Where yes, absolutely. Just give Kendre Miller 25 touches, right? Who cares if he gets beat up a little bit? We want to see what you have. And I
Yep.
think this is a week that we could really see that here against the Packers, especially in a negative game script. If you're
Mhm.
playing Jake Haener at quarterback again, which I think it's going to be, like,
So
dude,
bad.
it's I mean, whoever it is, if it's Haener, if it's Rattler, doesn't matter. I would expect several dump downs, especially when you're
Yep.
chasing the game. It just like Kamara always gets, and I wouldn't be surprised if Miller were to be again, assuming no Kamara, 4 to 5 catches this week.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, hey, Kendra Miller's going to go for 25 this week.
Mhm.
I mean, to say that would be silly just because they're 13 and a half point dogs
Right.
on Monday Night Football. So I'm not saying that they're going to have 7 red zone trips. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about if you're on a no RB team, you have injuries, it's the playoffs. Please, 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 just try to pick up Kendra Miller
Yep.
if you're down on running backs.
Yeah.
Don't
No.
start Tank Bigsby. Don't start Travis Etienne. Just go pick up Kendra Miller.
Yep, absolutely. I love that call there. So I'm gonna go with my third and final player. I believe he was my third and final player last week as well, and it's Jakobi Meyers here. And I know that if you watched last night's game, right? We're recording this late Tuesday night here. If you watched last night's game, maybe you're a little bit hesitant to play him again this week, and I understand why, but you gotta follow the thought process here because this Raiders offense again, if Aiden O'Connell plays, there should be no question, right?
Oh
Then
yeah.
Jakobi Meyers is a smash play. If Desmond Ridder plays, he still should be starting, in my opinion, because you look at this Raiders offense yesterday, absolutely nothing. What, 3 points going into 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter? And then they start to score, right? You get a touchdown, you get into field goal range. You were, for a couple of Hail Marys. Why? What changed? Well, obviously there's some softer zones going on, right? But you're peppering Jakobi Meyers with targets. That's what happened. That's what changed. Is you're starting to throw to your best receiver. They got the best receiver on the field for you. So I think that that's what changed, and that the little bit of chemistry that we saw is going to carry over. A little bit of momentum will carry over, and I also just think there's going to be a little bit more scheming from
Mhm.
Antonio Pierce and the Raiders staff here to scheme, get the ball in Jakobi Meyers' hands because we saw how efficient, how effective he can be, even with Desmond Ridder at quarterback.
No, I totally agree. Now we're also trying to take this off the basis of, the Raiders will actually learn something from the loss. We're kind of thinking rationally here. I don't know if the Raiders actually think rationally. Um, I don't like, I listen. I think every person that works in the NFL is probably qualified. I'm just saying, if you watched the offense last night before those last 2 drives, like you said, I was worried. I was worried bad for them. I was worried for Jakobi Meyers, but you're right. If they have any resemblance of like actually wanting to score the football, they need to get Jakobi Meyers at least if they're only going to throw the ball 20 times, he still needs at least 10 targets. And
Yes.
it just, and Brock Bowers should get the other 10, and no one else should get a target.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, I mean, we didn't talk about the matchup at all. You're up against Jacksonville, right? And this Jacksonville secondary just got absolutely torched by Aaron Rodgers. I mean, by the retirement home. And so, I mean, I was playing against the reason I lost a league is because of Devontae Adams. So, yeah, you don't need to necessarily remind me of
Yeah.
how bad this Jacksonville secondary is, to say the least.
Yeah. And, well, don't say I understand retirement home, but Devontae Adams, I have him in like 3 dynasty leagues. He's got another like 6-7 years, dude. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like Jerry Rice. He's gonna play till he's like 42.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see that again?
No, I don't think. I think the game's too physical now. I mean, yeah, I think there's kind of the balance, right? Because you look at like in the NBA, the amount of technology that you have to like recover your body
Yeah.
allows you to play longer. But I think it's just too physical in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. They're gonna add that 18th game too. So that's the tough part.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, already added a 17th. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think by the time you play 17 years, you've already played 18 years or 16. When you've played 17, 16, 17 years, you've already played another season than what Jerry Rice would have had to play, right?
Yeah.
Just in regular season games. So, yeah.
No, I love Jakobi Meyers this week. If you're fighting for, that second flex, maybe you're in a league with 3 wideouts. The real leagues that are tough are the 3 wideouts and 2 flexes. Jakobi Meyers should be starting in every one of those leagues.
Absolutely. Yeah. All 6 guys we said today should be, you shouldn't necessarily have to think about it at all. Other than hopefully you have enough fab left to get Kendre Miller.
Yeah. Kendre Miller is just the one where it's like, hey, if you're in a desperate running back situation, which I'm sure a lot of people are, that just squeaked by with the win last week. Maybe you won 108 to 107. Everybody else would have blown you out, but you're still in it. Kendre Miller could help you this week.
Yep, absolutely. But those are our 6 guys here: Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, DJ Moore, Isaac Guerendo, Kendre Miller, and Jakobi Meyers. So 6 guys coming in here this week for the second to last week here of fantasy football starts, which means 2 weeks from now we will be breaking down the NFL playoffs and starting to get into maybe a mock draft Monday.
Yeah,
I know you and I are both just doing our due diligence on researching this next year's class. But real quick, I know I asked Nick this earlier on the college basketball show. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go check it out. I asked him to college football playoff coming up starting this weekend.
Yep.
Pick a team. Who do you think is going to win it?
It's tough. It's really, really tough. I'm an Ohio State fan. I think I'm not going to go off bias. I probably say, and this might shock you, I'm going to say Georgia.
Okay.
I'm going to say Georgia.
I'm interesting. Okay.
The reason I say Georgia is their backup's a 4-star. Okay, so he's not some bum, and they always find a way to win games, and I don't know why, I don't know how, but I after I watched that SEC championship game, it's going to just be hard for them on that bottom to not make the final.
Yeah.
So
it was a very, very good second half.
Yeah.
To be able to come in and gain confidence out of Gunnar Stockton, right?
Yeah.
Gunnar Stockton. So no, I don't mind that at all. I went with Penn State.
Okay, I can see it for sure.
I said a Big Ten championship rematch in the in the championship.
Yeah.
Just because I think Penn State, I mean, I think the SMU draw is a favorable draw. I think Boise State's actually a favorable draw as well. And then you get to play Georgia. I probably, right, assuming it works out if that way, probably Georgia with a backup quarterback. So, not a full strength Georgia. But I also just think Penn State's running game is just so good.
It is, and I think Drew Aller's a lot better than people think. I think if he would have came out this year, he would have been hyped up to a top 10 pick.
You think? Pending a good combine, I think, yeah.
I think so, but just think about his natural traits. I know we'll get in. I want to get into this in the mock draft, in our our later episode. I'd talk about Drew Aller a little bit because I'm really surprised he went back. He must have got the bag. But no, I understand Penn State, but when's the last time they won a big game though?
Oh yeah, I know that's the problem is no big games. But
Yeah.
the Big Ten championship gave me a lot of hope for them because of their ability to run. And I think if they match up against Oregon, I think if them or Boise State match up against Oregon, they actually can bode decently well because of how
Yeah.
well their running game is, how good they are on the ground. But
Totally agree.
all right, we could talk about this for hours, but
We could.
we're going to end it here. This has been the Sports Geeks podcast. They play, we talk. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.